Working the night shift is different. It changes people. It changes places. And when the world goes quiet, that's when you hear things, see things, experience things that you can't forget. If you've ever stepped outside at 3 a.m. or heard a sound you couldn't explain, these stories might feel a little too familiar. Tonight, you'll hear 5 true-style encounters from late-night workers who experienced something disturbing, something they still can't explain. I work as a security guard for a large appliance warehouse. It's mostly empty at night, except for the occasional truck driver dropping off shipments. One night around 2:40 a.m., I noticed something strange on the loading bay camera, a woman standing completely still at the far end of the lot. No truck, no car, no reason for her to be there. She just stood there, staring directly at camera number 3. At first, I thought it was just a glitch or someone passing through. But she didn't move, not even once, for almost 5 minutes. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped outside. The cold hit me immediately. As I walked closer, I called out, "Mom? Are you all right?" No response. When I got about 20 feet away, she slowly turned her entire body toward me, but her head stayed tilted slightly downward, as if she was looking at something on the ground. I froze. That's when I realized something. Her feet weren't pointed toward me, they were pointed backwards. Completely rotated, as if her legs were on the wrong way. I stepped back and reached for my radio. She suddenly sprinted, not toward me, but along the edge of the lot, impossibly fast, disappearing behind the dumpsters. I ran back inside and watched the monitors. Camera 3 caught her again, this time climbing the exterior fence in one unnatural, jerking movement. The police found no trace of her. No footprints, no disturbance in the snow. But the footage? They asked for a copy. And ever since, that camera, the same one she was staring at, glitches every night at the same time, 2:40 a.m. I work night shifts at a regional hospital. Most nights, the earphones are quiet except for occasional wrong numbers. But one night at 1:17 a.m., the internal line rang, extension 439. That office has been empty for 5 years. I answered anyway. "Yeah, how can I help you?" Static. Then a faint voice. "Don't let him walk the hall." I froze. "Hello? Are you hurt? Where are you calling from?" 439, the voice whispered. I immediately called security and asked them to meet me on the 3rd floor. The hallway lights flickered as I approached the old cardiology wing. The entire floor smelled like dust and something metallic, like blood, maybe. The door to room 439 was slightly open. I pushed it with my foot and shined my light inside. Empty. But the phone on the wall, the same phone that shouldn't be connected to anything, had the call timer running. 1 minute. 2 minutes. That's when I heard slow footsteps behind me. I turned. A tall man in a hospital gown stood in the hallway. Pale. Thin. He stared at me like he didn't recognize where he was. "Sir. Are you a patient? Do you need help?" He didn't speak. He just lifted his hand and pointed toward the stairwell. Security arrived seconds later, and the man was gone. All that remained was the old phone inside room 439, still off the hook, the call still active. But nobody breathing on the other side. I work alone at a small 24-hour gas station in the middle of a rural area. Most of the customers at night are truckers or locals who don't talk much. But there's one man who comes in almost every night, always at the same time, 3:13 a.m. Tall, thin, clean black coat. Never speaks. Never blinks. He walks straight to aisle 3, picks up the same pack of gum, places it on the counter, and just stares. He never pays. He never leaves money. He just stares until I clear my throat and nod. Then he walks out. For months, I assumed he was just strange, until last week. We had a power outage around 2:50 a.m. Everything went dark except the emergency lights. I tried calling the owner but my phone had no signal. At exactly 3:13 a.m., a loud knock hit the front glass door. 3 knocks. Slow. I already knew who it was. I grabbed a flashlight and approached the door, but what I saw made my stomach drop. There were 5 identical men standing in a perfect line outside the station. Same height. Same coat. Same expressionless face. All staring straight at me. All not blinking. The lights flickered back on. I stumbled backwards, and when I looked again, they were gone. Not walking away. Not driving. Just gone. The only evidence they were ever there were the footprints in the freshly fallen snow, 5 sets, all identical. I used to work as a night janitor for a private clinic. It's a job where you rarely see anyone during the shift except the occasional late-night nurse. One night, as I was mopping the 3rd floor hallway, I noticed a man sitting alone in the waiting room, elderly, wearing a brown coat. Nobody else was scheduled to be on that floor. "Sir," I called out. "The clinic is closed." He didn't respond. I walked closer. His coat looked strangely wet. The air around him smelled like old dirt and mold. "You can't be here," I said gently. He turned his head toward me, extremely slowly, like his neck was stiff or broken, and whispered, "I'm waiting for my doctor." I told him the floor was empty and he'd have to come back in the morning. He shook his head. "I have an appointment. I've waited 60 years. I felt goosebumps climb my arms. I called security. By the time they reached the floor, the man was gone, but the chair he'd been sitting on was soaked with water. We checked the cameras. At 2:11 a.m. the footage showed empty hallway. At 2:12 a.m. the man was suddenly sitting in the chair, appearing in a single frame, as if he had blinked into existence. And something else. When he turned his head toward the camera, his eyes were pitch black. No pupils. No whites. Just darkness. The clinic sealed that waiting room permanently. I used to work overnight at a small-town radio station. This story comes from when I worked at a small-town overnight radio station. Late nights were usually slow, play tracks, read news updates, sip coffee. But one night around 1 a.m., our emergency broadcast system suddenly activated. A loud tone blasted through the studio. The screen displayed a message I'd never seen before. "Intruder alert, remain inside." Seconds later, the microphone in the recording booth powered on by itself. All I heard was breathing. Slow. Deep. Right into the mic. I checked the booth, empty. When I got back to the console, the message had changed. "Do not turn around." I froze. The studio was silent except for the faint hum of the equipment. I forced myself to look at the security monitor instead of turning around physically, and that's when I saw it. Something tall, maybe 8 feet, was standing behind me. Long arms reaching almost to the floor. No face, just a smooth, pale surface. It slowly leaned in toward me on camera. The lights flickered. And in one sudden moment, everything shut off. The power returned 30 seconds later. I was alone. The booth was normal. The emergency broadcast had cleared itself. But the system log still shows the message as a manual entry. Even though I was the only employee in the entire building. If you work nights, stay aware of your surroundings. Sometimes the things you hear, the things you see, aren't just in your imagination. They're out there, waiting. Stay safe out there. Strange things happen after midnight, and sometimes they follow you home.